Hello, and welcome to the first installation of Secrets of Dalaya. This chapter covers Gongoerth, the first Wyrm. Well, let's begin. Gongo, which is short for Gongoerth, has about 100 million hit points. The fight will usually last around 40 to 50 minutes in length. You will need to set up your raid in the room before engaging. There are three distinct parts of his room: the red side, the green side, and the outside. Everyone who is going to cast any spells on Gongo should stand on the far wall of the green side of the room. The warrior tank should stand in front of Gongo, and the melees should stand on the far wall of the red side of the room. Gongo has a 2000 point damage shield that you cannot dispel, so it is crucial that all melee should range fight him. The first phase of Gongo's fight, the Reckoning. Upon engaging, Gongo will begin hitting the main tank for about 1000 to 2000 a hit for a few minutes. Just slowly DPS him, and keep the tank alive. This is probably the third hardest part of the fight. During phase 1, you cannot use any fire-based spells or the tank will die, and you will wipe. Just DPS him down to 90%, and then the fight will really start. You are now in phase 2 of the fight. No one should be doing DPS to Gongo, except for one Necromancer and one Ranger, because if you drop him even 1% too early, you'll wipe. What you are shooting for is about 1% per minute. Once he hits 90%, his melee DPS goes way down. One good cleric should be able to keep the tank alive. Have your other healers ready for the melees. At 89%, 4 ads will come out of the red gem behind him and rush the melees. These guys are probably as hard as the Agonizer in Torment, except they each cast a different IOE that you will need 500 plus fire, cold, magic, poison to survive. We used a Shadow Knight, a Paladin, a Monk and a Bard to tank them, each with their own healer. The wizards need to burn these guys down very fast, or you will wipe. At 88%, Gongo will do an AOE root, followed by an AOE stun, followed by an AOE snare, followed by an AOE fear. I have no idea how we were able to survive this. It's basically a luck shot, unless you have 500 plus on all resists, and then still it is easy to get fucking owned by these. At 87%, Gongo will spawn 2 ads that will stay alive for 2 minutes exactly and randomly charm one person from each side of the room. We would PvP tag our Enchanter, Bard and Necro, and have them as the people who were charmed, because they will wreak havoc on the raid. Typically we would wait for these mobs to dep up, before dipsing him down to 86%. The ads are unkillable. At 86%, Gongo will do an AOE blind and summon one ad that is kind of weak, but can get some beastly rounds in. Typically 50% of the raid will resist this, so it's not that hard. At 85%, Gongo will spawn ads that will run in from the back of the room. Each has about 5000 HP, but there are about 30 of them, and they proc a 2-second stun on combat, so the wizards, bards, enchanters, mages and anyone who can AoE needs to destroy these things before they reach the healers. At 84%, Gongo does a very resistible 5000 pint fire AoE, just have group heals up. At 83%, Gongo will cast a debuff on the raid that slows movement to 1%, stops mana regeneration, HP regen, and severely reduces casting speed. It only lasts for 48 seconds, so just readjust heals, and wait until it goes away, to start dipsing him again. At 82%, Gongo will heavily increase his DPS on the tank, and start reflecting spells. Melees need to heavy range damage here, and heals need to be hard and fast. At 81%, Gongo will cast a dot on 4 people that will kill them in 3 ticks, unless they are cured, so be on your toes. The main tank can get this spot. Congratulations, you are now at phase 3 of this ridiculously hard fight. Once Gongo hits 80%, the fight really begins. He will summon 2 giant mirror golems, called Reflections of Soul. Each is about as strong as an IP trash mob, and they are legit mirror golems. You have to DPS one down to 50, then kill the other. Don't screw up. Instead of complete healing, they do an AoE for 50k, if you DPS the wrong one for just 1 point of damage. Thankfully Gongo's DPS goes down about 90% during this. Once they are killed you can DPS him down to 60% safely. Phase 4. This is the absolute hardest thing in SOD period. Once Gongo hits 59%, he starts to summon suicide bombing mobs that need to be killed before they melee anyone. Anyone capable of range DPS needs to stand as far away from the entrance to the room as possible and root, nuke, snare, mez anything, just don't let them hit anyone in the raid. He will summon about 100 of these guys over the course of 5 minutes, so be prepared. Once he stops, he emotes to let you know you can DPS him down to 39%. Phase 5. From here on out, it's basically a crapshoot. Every 2% he will spawn a random IP trash mob that you need to kill until he gets to 10%. Just keep slow constant DPS on him and have all the burst DPS kill the ads. We used a Shadow Knight and a Paladin for tanking. Phase 6. At 10% Gongo will disappear and you will get a message about how he vanishes in a puff of smoke. Then everyone in the room will get a poison dot that will do about 2000 damage a tick. Start curing and healing, don't let anyone die. After 3 minutes, Gongo comes back, sans damage shield, starts meleeing the tank for upwards of 4k per hit, and needs to be burned to death as fast as possible. If he is not losing 1% every 15 to 20 seconds, just wipe the raid and come back, because your mono will not hold for much longer than that. That's it. You beat Gongo. Congratulations.